Hey everyone, and welcome back to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. Tonight on the channel, I am accompanied by a couple of special guests. You may be familiar with them. They are Evan Filarca and Comic Blast Keenan. Evan is the Spidey Squad leader. Welcome aboard, gentlemen.
What is up, Ronnie? How's it going? Welcome, true believers, and all you spectacular Spidey Squad members, to another amazing installment of Ronnie and Keenan's wonderful podcast I'm lucky enough to be a guest on, so thank you both for having me today.
He did it. He did the thing.
He did the thing, yeah.
I've only heard it twice. This is my second time hearing it in person, not in person, over the internet, in live action.
Well, eventually we will meet up, and it'll be a really good collaborative moment. You know, we'll be able to collaborate and just make a nice video where we're in person. You know, a Spidey Squad
1000%.
adventures.
Yes.
So I want to thank you guys again for joining me. I'm really excited to talk about everything that's happened this past week with Insomniac Games. It's just been total craziness and an amazing week it's been for sure. And if you all have been keeping up with me, Evan Filarca, and Keenan, you would know we've been scouring the internet and Scooby-Dooing this shit, getting your notifications over on Twitter, which you should follow me on there if you haven't had the chance yet. Simply look up @NewsToAstonish. Same goes for my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch. And of course, you can follow Evan and Keenan as well. Definitely show your support there. We all appreciate your support. As always, it's always fun to talk about this kind of stuff for you guys to enjoy. So get your snacks ready. What are you having? Popcorn? Gingerbread house? Whatever. It's the holidays. Save us from the eggnog. I kid. Let's go ahead and do this. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the stuff that's happened this past week. Maybe theorize about when we're going to be expecting to get a trailer. We've been getting a lot of word online. A lot of people in the comments section have been saying how we might be getting a trailer in maybe February or March, which I do think are really good theories. What are your guys' thoughts on that? What do you think should be next for Insomniac Games?
I personally have absolutely no idea. I've been trying to speculate for like 6 months on when we're going to see something from Insomniac for Marvel Spider-Man 2. And I've been like 0 for 10 on when it could possibly be. So it's been tough to speculate, and I don't know. I mean, there's been so many signs and like things to get me hopeful that something's coming, and we could probably go over that. Like, it all started with like Tony Todd's tweet a few weeks ago. Then you got Najee's tweet the day of the Game Awards, and you know, Insomniac employees.
I almost feel bad
tweeting
for
out
that
gifs.
Tony Todd tweet. Like, I almost feel bad for that because like he was genuinely excited to tweet out something.
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, like I kind of feel bad though,
Wild.
because like people were like, understandably so, people were like, oh, it's Spider-Man 2, so it's got to be that. And then we find out what it really was, and then people just tuned out and were like, it wasn't Spider-Man 2. Hit me up when it is Spider-Man 2. And I feel bad because this guy is a talent, you know. He's a real true talent. So, but yeah, it's been kind of crazy.
The thing is, which I am so like, I can't blame you for like getting like our hopes up, because it would have been one thing if he just tweeted like some cool creative project is in the works, get excited. Oh, that's cool, because he is an actor.
Yeah.
He's not just Venom. He does other things, which is fine.
Yeah,
but then, which is what everyone got excited for, is because he went on to retweet people's posts relating to Venom in the game. So then that's what, oh, it is Venom? Let's see. And then it wasn't. So it's like, because the funny thing is, Tony's just super nice. He's just super interactive with the fans on Twitter and online, and with wanting them to feel seen and appreciated, which is why, if you look, he follows back so many people. He follows all of us.
Yeah,
which is the coolest
exactly.
thing.
That is crazy.
And that just shows how devoted he is to the fans and his audience. So that was very kind of odd how that went down. But then it was even more odd where Najee Jeter, Miles Morales, went on to post that video on Instagram where he's like, yeah, cool things coming. We're going to end a year off right with all you. And we saw the news, which is the big news for the game that we got all of this year with nothing else, is officially confirming, not speculating, not theorizing. It's official, guys. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is launching exclusively on the PS5 in fall of 2023 with no delays in sight, which is great because there were a lot of people saying, man, there's nothing this year for this game. Is it even still in the works? What's going on?
Does it even exist? What is my life?
Does it even exist? And it's like that Cory Barlog meme from Sony Santa Monica and God of War. He's like, never heard of it. I can't wait for Brian Intar and the team to say that, like, what's Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man 2? What's that game? I don't know what that is.
I responded to him and I'm like, you know what it is, and then he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I was like, right, like Frank from the Upper's Roof. Like, I was just messing with him. Man, these guys like to tease. I swear, or like
they love to tease.
I'm bringing back this like this Dave Chappelle neck scratching thing with a crack. I'm bringing this back. I'm starting to get cured, but because to know that we're a short 9 to 10 months away from this game, it's happening. I still got the itches. I still got the hot sweats.
I just got goosebumps when you said that.
Yeah, 9 to like if you really think about it, 9 to 10 months away. Like October, I'm thinking, by the way. Because the other two games did come out in September and November, and October's like the only other month left in the fall, as far as like, you know, what games came out when, you know. So I think it makes sense, man. Venom is horror. You know, he's a monster. It makes sense. It has to make sense.
The first thing I did as soon as like Insomniac and PlayStation said that it was coming in fall 23 is like immediately go to Google and be like, when is fall 23? Like, what's the start date for that? It's sometime in September. I can't remember the date, but I was just like, okay.
Fall starts in September 1st, ends November 30th. At least in this calendar. I mean, the calendar year here, it's a little different in different parts of the world from what I know. Other parts call it autumn.
Now, here's something that I don't think any of us have talked about, which I find very intriguing to see what happens here, is knowing that, again, this is the full-on next-gen sequel for Marvel's Spider-Man. Not a spin-off / standalone game like Miles Morales, where it's a smaller scope and scale project compared to the full-length experience of Spider-Man PS4, right? This is the next
for real
genuine...
People think that it's not?
Some people, like, they kind of, like, you know how people thought where Miles Morales first came out, they thought it was just Spider-Man DLC.
They thought it was Spider-Man 2.
Oh, it's, yeah. But then they're like, oh, this isn't a full game. This is just DLC, but it is its own game. So this is fully, you know, putting that argument to bed where this is, in fact, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But I was going to ask, with the whole release window for fall 2023, maybe it could come out potentially earlier in the fall, like a September instead of an October, because what if Insomniac does their kind of DLC expansion again, like the Save That Never Sleeps pack, but for the sequel, where each month from Spider-Man PS4's release in September to the end of the year in 2018 with October, November, December, each of those months had a individual DLC chapter to expand the game. Now, depending on how big Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is, they could do that same route where we get like the Save That Never Sleeps Part 2, where we get like another 3 individual pieces of DLC chapters for each month. Or, and this is the big one considering how big of a character he's going to be, if Venom, if he doesn't end up being playable in the base game, will get his own little extra slice of DLC just for him, or a standalone spin-off game like Miles.
Dude, yeah, you know what?
That's the dream.
Now I'm thinking about it, like, that's right. I never really thought of it that way. I never actually broke it down like that. That is a good theory. And I'm hoping for a Marvel's Venom from Insomniac Games. I mean,
saying that gets me hype.
Marvel's Venom. That's it. Like, it's so simple. And
that's got to be next, right?
That has to be next. I mean, Wolverine. That's probably gonna be 2025, late 2024. In my theory, like, that's what I think. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually working on Marvel's Venom in the back end.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, they completely were. When did they start Miles Morales? Evan, you probably know. Was it like halfway through or the end?
Nobody knew about that.
Of Marvel Spider-Man development.
That was wild. So you know what's hilarious is that if you guys remember the live stream launch celebration they had for Spider-Man PS4 back in 2018, where they had all the cast members were there and all the developers were there on stream talking about the game before launch. Najee Jeter was there with Yuri Lowenthal, and apparently it was after that launch celebration finished. Brian Intar asked, like, hey, Najee, little side question for you. Would you want to be in your own game? Would you want Miles Morales to have his own game? And he's like, yes. And right after that launch live stream, right when Spider-Man PS4 released pretty much is when they started kind of getting the gears turning for making Miles a spin-off instead of a full-on sequel, which is why it's shorter compared to the first game. And that's why a lot of assets are still there. Like the city is pretty much the same, even though they added a lot to Harlem and the Oscorp Research Center on the waterfront, which is a cool addition. And the snowy aspect with the holiday season.
Yeah,
and
that was
Miles'
amazing.
mechanics are all different and all that. So they gave 110% effort with making all these games, but also how efficiently and how quickly they work on them is astounding.
Yeah,
like how fast they did the turnaround from Peter's game to Miles's in the span of like a little over 2 years, and even in that time frame, look how much improvement they made for the web swinging and some of the combat mechanics and the visuals for the fidelity of the graphics on the PS5 with the ray tracing and all that as well. Insane. And again, now knowing, which a lot of people still don't really seem to fully comprehend, is that yes, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is a PS5 exclusively from the ground up built on this next-gen platform, which is going to destroy what we saw with the remaster and Miles on PS5, because those were cross-gen games still, just enhanced on newer hardware, whereas this is solely for this new platform, which gets me so pumped to see what that means for a character like Venom.
It's funny though, because you can say that as much as you like. There are actually a lot of people that they insist that it's still coming for the PS4. Like it's coming to the PS4.
I've seen those people. It hurts that they're still in Delusionville.
My heart, man.
They're so
My
angry about
crushed.
it too.
My heart is crushed, bro. My heart is crushed. Like when people
I feel
say
for
it's
them.
Yes.
I
was
know
one
the
of those.
panic. Yeah, I know the panic of not having a PS5
A part of me
and
actually
feeling
is
like
happy.
you're gonna miss out.
It hurts.
A part of me is actually kind of happy that sometimes people do have hope, but sometimes they have hope in the wrong places. Like okay, like it's all good to have hope and all, but like you cannot deny the facts that are in front of you. Just go onto the PlayStation blog; it'll tell you right there. But man, just to know, like, you know, recently I was thinking about how like this one supposed tester or somebody that walked into Insomniac Games headquarters to look at some Marvel Spider-Man 2 gameplay. He made the comment thinking like, "Oh man, I thought I was looking at a cutscene the entire time." Just knowing that the gameplay looks like a cutscene, like, makes me freak out. Like, I'm trying to imagine it, even though I don't really have to. I can just look at the teaser trailer, but that's not the final. That's not the final. That's not the final piece that we're getting. As for the game. Like, just thinking like, man, if the gameplay looks like a cutscene, I can only imagine what that game's gonna look like. The fluidity in the combat, the swinging, the cutscenes, everything. It's gonna look super stylish. Or Evan, as you put it best, it's pure sex.
I can kind of speak on. I don't know. Have you guys played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart?
Actually, I have not.
You're missing out, buddy.
I know.
That's an Insomniac game
Yeah.
exclusively for the
That's a
PS5.
banger.
And I actually, that's not really necessarily my style of game that I gravitate towards, but I had so much fun playing that from start to finish. However, like the main reason I really wanted to play is I wanted to support Insomniac in something other than Spider-Man, and B was like I wanted to see what they could cook up with a PS5 exclusive.
Oh man.
And I mean, the game just runs so well. And I actually
Like
felt
butter,
there were probably 2 or 3 moments in that game where I could see what you're talking about with that report, where you can't really necessarily tell the difference between what's gameplay and what's just a cinematic, video or whatever it may be. And that happened to me at least a couple times. Like I remember that standing out, but what they were able to do with that game just got me even more excited for Spider-Man 2.
Man, yeah.
Yes.
Like, it's gonna be crazy, bro. I can't wait. I'm live streaming that day one.
I don't know if I can do that, just because I'm weird and I like to just focus on the game. I can't focus on a chat or something like that. I'm like, I just want to play it and then I'll play it with you guys. But first, I need to immerse myself in this.
Maybe
I'm terrible with that. I mean, I've live streamed a couple games like in the past, like a lot. But I mean, like on the channel where I do like Marvel's Midnight Suns, or I have live streamed Miles Morales, but that was after I beat it. So yeah, I'm totally the same, because it's hard to pay attention to the game and the chat at the same time. And also, I'm just like, I can't pay attention to the game 110% if I'm also focusing on what the chat's saying.
Yep.
Which is why when the first game came out, I'm like, no. I like locked off all of society to just play that game, just dive into that world after waiting for 2.5 years, and it's like it was worth it, because
maybe I should
it was insane.
what I'm thinking that if I'm gonna live stream it, I should probably schedule a live stream like late at night, but then like play it in like in the morning or something, like early in the day myself. I should probably do that.
It's also like tough because you run the risk of like jerks spoiling things in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That worries me.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that everyone here is somehow able to get like a review copy and we can just play it. And then maybe if you want to, you know, if you can play it early and then stream it day one, that'd be cool.
You know what? Yeah. Insomniac Games doesn't follow me yet, and I hope they do.
Oh, that's bad news.
I think they follow you.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, that's bad news. Yeah, bad news.
No, I'm kidding.
But they follow you, Evan, and they follow. Do they follow you, Keenan? I think they do.
They do. I harassed them quite enough.
They won't follow me at all. I don't know why.
They finally broke.
They will.
They're not gonna follow me.
I was like tagging them and everything.
I literally have over 100 videos on Marvel Spider-Man 2. And I'm sure maybe one of the reps probably came across one of those.
That's honestly the way to do it in just like little YouTuber, little corner of advice here, just because that's the way how you should approach them at first. Just tag them, at them, tweet publicly towards them to just get them on your radar. And then once you start getting more of that connective bond, then you can dial it back a bit. But there's no shame in like saying like, hey, James Stevenson, Aaron Espinoza, I saw your tweets. Here's my video talking about your tweets, you know? And that way they'll get more focused on you and focused on your content. And that's totally fine.
You know what?
And it helps them get to know you as a personality and as an online individual.
That's a good
which
idea.
will allow them to be more connected towards, because they also run the social media accounts as well. I just use them as an example, funny enough, but those two in particular, Aaron and James, run the social media accounts at Insomniac. So they're the ones who are kind of looking at everyone's posts.
That's a good idea, definitely. So we should also talk about like what's next and when we can expect another trailer for, I mean, at least a new trailer for Marvel Spider-Man 2, an official gameplay trailer or something. Because I think after February or March, after we probably get one, then because we have to get one soon. Like I'm talking about in the next 2 to 3 months. And if the game is set to come out 9 to 10 months from now, so from like 2 to 3 months, we'd only have like what, a good 7 months left before the game comes out. We need to get something, and then from then
I'm really
on,
curious.
It's full sail ahead after that. You know, we get breakdown, you know, trailers and videos and stories and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I'm curious about like the idea of Insomniac / Sony just deciding to market this game, you know, or release a trailer separately from like a PlayStation showcase, or if they want to do a PlayStation showcase. I don't know. Like there was that whole report which was really weird by, I think, was it Millie A that said that.
Yes.
A lot of the reason why they haven't had a PlayStation showcase is because of the acquisition of Activision towards Microsoft, and essentially they're kind of like trying to downplay their exclusive games.
I just don't see the correlation between that and Spider-Man.
I think it's ridiculous.
I don't see the
so
correlation
much
at all.
To say about that, but I'll wait until you guys are done, because I'm just gonna go off on the person in charge of PlayStation.
Man, I definitely do. I do want to hear this, Evan, real quick. I just personally myself, I'm excited for you to rant about it, but personally, I just don't see the correlation between Activision Blizzard and Insomniac Spider-Man. And like, why is it affecting one another when they have nothing to do with each other?
I think it's like,
go ahead and break it down for
PlayStation as a whole. So if they like drop, hey, look at all of our exclusive games, like then that is like an argument to be made for Microsoft on the other end. Evan, you're probably going to read my mind, but I think PlayStation just should focus on themselves. I mean, like, everybody knows that these games are coming out, so to pretend like they don't exist makes no sense to me. And I just don't see that as a good business strategy. But it's super frustrating if that's the whole reason we didn't get a PlayStation showcase last year.
Yeah, and people are saying
that's really frustrating as a PlayStation
this
gamer.
year, I mean, right?
We've got a lot of
I'm already thinking it's 2023.
I know, well, pretty much.
We got a lot of
pretty
fans
much there.
We got a lot of fans like saying terrible things about Insomniac and PlayStation. and how they're treating this whole situation with the whole marketing. I remember reading I made a video about this, and I just titled it "I'm tired of this." And it's just fans just
great video.
Like,
Go check it out, people, if you haven't seen it already.
Thank you so much. Like I was just talking about how these so-called fans are saying things like, "Oh, you guys," I don't remember. They were accusing them of being liars and stuff like that, and they were just
they're just like feeling entitled.
Right, exactly. Right? I'm like, yo, like just because they haven't said anything, I mean, there's a reason behind it. Yes, it's a little frustrating, but it doesn't mean you have to act like an entitled prick about it. But you know,
I don't think that's Insomniac's choice, to be honest.
I don't think so either. But anyways,
none of the devs have any power as to when the marketing can start, especially when the higher ups at Sony and Marvel are wanting to make it known, like, hey, we got this major PlayStation game with Spider-Man coming out next year. You guys still doing good work on it? Like, yeah, we're working on it. But then they are still just in the hole of just totally blocking off whatever, perceptions and whatever factors are going on at Sony, PlayStation, Microsoft, whatever. Like, the devs at Insomniac are just, their main job is to work on the game, right? And it's a smaller team of people who are helping market that product once it's ready to be promoted. So that's why when this is happening, where I'm going to go off now, is with the entire nonsense pertaining to Microsoft and Activision Blizzard and this deal affecting Sony's marketing choices to withhold a PlayStation showcase. Now, this is great news for Insomniac because they're not having to worry about, oh, we got to get this piece of the game finished so that way we can show it for our next event in the next couple weeks. They're just working hard on the game without having to worry about anything else, which is great news for them. Bad news for us, though, because we have to keep waiting for Jim Lion Ryan, my favorite nickname to give him, just to make his decision. Mr. Lion Ryan himself, of wanting to just make sure that Sony looks feeble and weak compared to what Microsoft is doing, which is nothing, by the way. And even so, trying to buy, Activision Blizzard, there's even talkings now that it might not go through because it's too big of a monopolizing purchase for them to make that they can own. And it's just weird that, Jim Ryan, who is in charge now of PlayStation, he's like the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, is making all these misconception decisions that kind of like go back on the previous words that they've made about where PlayStation's going in the future. I mean, remember he said like the PlayStation 5's existence is due to the power and capability of these new games to be made to create a new frontier of gaming which has never been achieved before. These are his words. And another thing is that it makes no sense because then God of War was a cross-gen game. Horizon Forbidden West, as amazing as it is, visually, it's still a cross-gen game. Those two should have been PS5 exclusives.
2 years
but
into
Jim
the
Ryan is
console,
like, well, wait, we still have our fan base on the PS4. We don't want to alienate them, so let's just make it a cross-gen game. So then why am I buying a PS5, Jim? Why am I getting a PS5 with no games? Oh, that's right, because the real games are coming out next year, in 2023 and beyond. So now we're starting to finally see what the possibilities are of this console. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is going to prove that. Wolverine's going to prove that. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart already, proved that, which is insane that all three of those games are from Insomniac. But a lot of these games, like The Last of Us Remake, Alan Wake Remastered, Spider-Man Remastered, a lot of these games are older titles that are just visually polished for the next-gen / current-gen era of the consoles with the PS5. And the weirdness of like, we can't show our big, heavy-hitting AAA exclusive games on the PS5 yet because Microsoft and Activision are having this spat, and if we show something now, then that's going to give them more evidence against us in court, so that way they will have leverage against PlayStation. But that's backwards logic because you just showed Death Stranding 2 at the Game Awards. You just showed the Horizon Forbidden West DLC at the Game Awards. We know Spider-Man 2 is coming. We know Wolverine's coming. You already pretty much confirmed that Sucker Punch is doing Ghost of Tsushima 2. Like, we know these games exist. So why are you hiding them? Like, your lack of displaying them does not erase the public knowledge that there's a major AAA Spider-Man game coming out next year. We know it's coming. So don't act like it's not. Like, it doesn't make any lick of sense. And this is why, if any of you who are listening follow me on Twitter, I desperately miss Sean Layden, who was the previous head of PlayStation. Back when Spider-Man PS4 first came out, he was like the head of PlayStation Studios back then. And he, in my opinion, is like a revolutionary of the gaming industry. Same thing with Shuhei Yoshida, who is another PlayStation executive who now runs the indie division of Sony, and also Bill Roseman and Brian Intard, they're legends. But like PlayStation, from that perspective, Jim Ryan has made every wrong decision this generation thus far, besides the fact that the PS5 is just carrying Sony right now in terms of the gaming environment.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
They need, again, like new games coming out with a PlayStation showcase to hopefully start off the year in 2023. I'm hoping like February or March. Besides Spider-Man 2, just say, are you working on an Infamous remake? I hope so. Are you working on, like The Last of Us Factions? We know that, but what does that look like? So a lot of new games need to be revealed to really give people some clarity and also reassurance that, you know what, I made a good purchase to buy a PlayStation 5. This was a good investment, because right now it's not paying off.
Right now it isn't. Yes, I can actually fairly say I do not own a PS5 exclusive title as of yet. Like,
see, that's the problem.
I can actually say that 2 years into this console life and
lack of exclusives.
What the hell's going on? I mean, exclusive to the PlayStation in general, but not to the PS5.
Yeah. Well, PS5 exclusive.
Yeah, lack of PS5 exclusive. And I'm like, wait a minute. I've had this console for 2 years, and I don't actually have a solid PS5 exclusive right now, and it sucks. And I've actually found myself barely using the PS5 because of that reason. But I'm like, dude, we should not have to wait 2 years. I understand where they're coming from, where like they don't want to quote unquote alienate, like Jim Lion Ryan just said. I'm gonna use that from now on.
You like that one? Yeah,
because that shit was funny. It's not a matter of alienating people. It's just to get people on board to the next gen of consoles. That's really
exactly.
It's not alienating. Like, people need to understand, oh, look at that. I don't have the necessary equipment to play the game that I want to play. My only solution is to get the next necessary equipment to play the games that I want to play. Simple. I mean, it's not easy to go buy one, but now it's more easy. It's easier than ever to go buy a console. Just that people need to stop feeling offended that they can't play the games they want to play because they don't have the console. And you know what? You can take that however you wish. If you want to hate me because I said that, that's all good. If you want to like me because I said that, that's all good. It's okay. I really don't care how you feel. But this is the reality of it. If you don't have the necessary tools to do what you want to do, then go get it when you get the chance. Go buy one. Buy a PS5. It's not that hard.
That's what's frustrating. Like the first year of PS5, it was kind of like you kind of gave it a pass because the PlayStation 5 was almost impossible.
We're pushing the third year soon.
And it was right in that COVID time frame. I think it was the year of COVID, 2020, right?
Right.
November
2020.
Yeah. A little bit of a pass, but now we're kind of like hitting its stride, and we're 2 years into this, and I feel like it's easier than ever to get a PS5. Now you still can't walk into a store and grab one.
Right.
But they are a little bit easier to get nowadays. Like I remember when Black Friday was happening, I actually just went on Walmart.com and just to see if I could put one in my cart, and there were plenty available. Like I was able to do it.
Yeah.
So people have like access to it, if you really kind of look out for them. So
even scalpers
what's
are
the
slowing
selling point of this console now?
Right.
So if you have a PlayStation showcase to say, we have all of these awesome games coming out, in the next year or two, and you don't want to miss out on them, you're going to need a PlayStation 5 to play them, it's going to get people to rush out and go get a PS5 so that way they can play these games. As long as you keep putting these games on PlayStation 4, people are going to put off getting that PS5. And I know people personally who, like, one of my best friends is a huge God of War fan, and he's been putting off getting a PS5 because he's just like, I can just play it on PS4.
Exactly.
And it won't look as amazing, but I'm still going to get that experience with these characters that I love.
That's another thing.
And it'll run fine.
I think God of War came.
So
it's good though. God of War's from what I know, Ragnarok. I heard it's a great game.
Yeah,
don't you think that you ever feel like it ever came out a year too early?
I mean, it was supposed to come out last year. It got delayed to this year, so I think it's fine. But what I do find weird is like, yeah, that argument is like, you're exactly right in the sense of I was in that boat too, because when the PS5 came out, I didn't have a PS5 at launch because it was so hard to get, and I was also waiting out in Black Friday I slept all night trying to get one, and of course the stampede of people just banished me to the shadow realm when I was trying to get one because it was so hard to try and get in front of the line, and there was like 2 available in stock, so it was impossible to get one at launch. Now you're absolutely right, it's way easier to get one, not abundantly easier, but way easier compared to its initial launch. But think of this, what if Spider-Man PS4 was also a cross-gen game for the PS3?
Oh my god,
you know how much that holds back the game? Exactly, right? So right there, hearing that is already like nails on a chalkboard. Disgusted. That just doesn't sound right at all. So that's why I know a lot of people who don't have a PS5 are upset that Marvel Spider-Man 2 won't be on a PS4 or PS4 Pro.
Yeah,
I get
but like
the struggle.
they're like, I get the frustration and the anger. I get it. But they're getting angry towards the wrong people. They should be angry at themselves that they put it off to getting the PS5. Or
angry at the chip shortage and just the lack of stock.
That too. Yeah. Or they didn't even put the effort to go try to get one. Because I can tell you right now, my brother owns 2 PlayStation 5s.
Damn.
He bought a second one effortlessly.
But he's
recently.
The problem.
And I'm like, well, even scalpers are slowing down. They're not seeing the value in selling a PS5 anymore now. Because they're starting to become a little bit more available.
You can go get one on eBay for like $100 more than retail price, where before
it was like $1,000.
They were like $800, $900, $1,000.
Yeah.
Because they're getting easier to get. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's super frustrating.
It is, but imagine now with all this, just think about how satisfied and how relieved and how much of an embrace you'll feel once you do get a PS5, and knowing that your purchase will be justified, because for probably the first 2 to 3 years, Marvel Spider-Man 2 will be only on the PS5, and then probably later will go on to PC. But that game was made, developed, visioned for directly on the PS5 platform from the ground up at launch. Not even thinking about being a cross-gen game like Miles was, or a remaster where it's an enhanced version of a game that already came out. No, it's a fully next-gen exclusive, just like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was, just like Returnal was, just like I was gonna say Bug Snacks or something, but who knows? But yeah, like all the whatever PS5 game is out right now that's an exclusive, that level of quality and high craftsmanship that's inputted into every facet of the game is what you'll experience at launch when you get a PS5 and play Marvel Spider-Man 2. And guess what? Alongside of that, if you still don't own a PS5, by the time you'll get one, you'll have 3 Spidey games to play through on your PS5. The remaster, Miles, and Marvel Spider-Man 2. All at once. Yeah, that will be a gift.
Insomniac Games made the right call to make Spider-Man 2 a exclusive to the PlayStation 5. I mean, for the love of God, we're already approaching the 3rd year into this console, and by then, if they're not making exclusive PS5 exclusives, I'm like, I don't know what else to think. I'm like, why even bother owning a PS5? But at this point, I think moving forward, Sony PlayStation is going to start focusing on PS5 exclusives. They should have ended PS4 development like about a year ago or so. Maybe the first year I gave it a pass, but like,
yeah,
man, like, come on, 2 years into the new console, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, first year is a pass, I think, because I would have been so mad if like Miles Morales came out as a PS5 exclusive, because it took me almost a year to get a PS5, so that would have been frustrating. Evan, you brought up like the PC thing, and one thing I think that like this is an opportunity for like Sony to capitalize on is, and just Spider-Man fans, is the fact that so many people played Marvel Spider-Man and Miles Morales for the first time on PC because they're PC gamers.
Yeah.
And some of them may have become huge fans of the franchise because of it, and may be inclined to spend money on a PS5 so that way they can play that next Spider-Man game.
Instead of waiting for like, what, 2 or 3 years after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You figure at least 2 years is what you'd be looking at.
Exactly. And do you remember when like people were getting upset that games were just coming to the PC?
Yeah, I remember the first time they revealed that the Spider-Man PS4 was coming to PC, or the remaster, I should say.
I'm
They're like,
damn, dude.
this is the end of PlayStation. I'm gonna throw my console in the trash. How dare you even do this? And it's like, chill out, sir.
I'm
please.
thinking to myself, like, who are you? You're just a consumer. Like, if Sony gives two shits about what you think, they're doing what they're doing, like what's in their best interest. And that's going to make them money. That's the bottom line. They're a business.
Exactly.
And besides, be happy for the PC players. And now they get to experience a masterpiece as such. Like, come on, chill out. Like,
I personally got like super, like, I don't want to hold this, this amazing franchise only to me. Like, I got so excited seeing so many other people play that game for the first time and like post their screenshots and like
other people get
scrolling
to
through Reddit and seeing what people think about it. And I'm like, this is awesome. Obviously I want it to be on the PlayStation 5, like, day one, because I own a PlayStation 5, but I like that kind of 2-year wait window and then putting it on PC. Like, it was really cool. But I do think it's an opportunity to sell people on PlayStation 5 because I know if I was a PC gamer and I played those games for the first time, like, I wouldn't want to wait 2 years for the next game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'd want to get it right away.
ASAP.
All right, so let's go ahead and try to end this now with trying to figure out when exactly what we can expect, a new trailer, when we can expect it, and moving forward, what 2023 is going to play out to be like, I guess, with Marvel Spider-Man 2.
If I could give a prediction, I would say it's going to happen after Hogwarts and before Jedi Survivor comes out. So somewhere in between there.
That's a good call.
I'm thinking like, I'm also looking forward to Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm a fan, so I can't wait to play that game. But I'm thinking like right after March, like around March, we're going to be getting some more news about the game.
Okay, so crazy theory from me right now.
Right,
as you do. Get ready, boys. It's a game theory. Hat on. Yes. Get those tinfoil caps at the ready. So one thing that we do know, a little small thing called PlayStation VR 2 is coming out on February 22, the 22nd of February. And if we get a PlayStation showcase or a state of play pertaining to that, they could have two separate sections during the presentation, where the first one could be, get ready, launch of PSVR 2 is coming next week, say the showcase is in February. They get everything out there. They show what the price is. Well, the price we already know, but they show what the games are that are going to be on there, like one last kind of push for the VR 2, what's happening there. And then say, well, here's what's next for PlayStation. And that's where we get Marvel Spider-Man 2 with a trailer, or maybe, if we're lucky, I say that because they're really holding out showing anything for the game, a gameplay demo for the game, and also more PlayStation 5, PS5, not PS4, PS5 exclusives, to really get you in the zone of, you know what, this is now the era of next gen, technically current gen, for these games. And what better way to do that than to promote some of their biggest heavy-hitting franchises getting PS5 exclusives in the coming years, like, I'm hoping, I beg, Infamous Remake, maybe some Sly Cooper action, I hope, or maybe just enforce what we already know about with Spider-Man 2, maybe some Wolverine if we're lucky, I doubt it though, and maybe Ghost of Tsushima 2 from Sucker Punch, and also we do know, confirmed, from Naughty Dog, that they are working on The Last of Us Factions, which they will show more of in 2023, and even, by the way, little side note, Insomniac is also working on another game. They're working on a multiplayer game, which we don't know what that is. So they could also show that. Maybe they'll show Spider-Man 2 and whatever their new project is. That it sounds like it's a new IP. It doesn't sound like it's a Marvel game, but it sounds like it is a brand new IP. But having all that bundled together in one solid presentation, sell people on the VR2, get people hyped for the future of next-gen gaming on the PS5, and possibly a Spider-Man 2 trailer or gameplay demo. I'm thinking the PSVR 2 comes out on February 22nd, so I'm thinking early to mid-February we could see a showcase.
Yes, like a New Year's kind of showcase.
Yes.
The moment I swear, the moment I see any kind of like announcement or notification from PlayStation saying, showcase, whatever, I will shit my pants. You know,
I will definitely call out sick of work.
Like I'll be like, listen,
And maybe
I
the
can't
next
come
day.
into work today. Like my house is broken, and you know, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna skip any classes I have on that day, if at all any. Like, sorry,
For real.
this is way more important. And also, you know, may not be as exciting, but still pretty cool. I mean, we did see that be the state of play that happened this year near, when was it, November or October? The God of War new trailer for that. They also showed a cool, awesome, decked out God of War themed DualSense controller.
Yeah, man.
So you already know we're gonna get that Venom symbiote themed controller, boys.
Doesn't it
one
suck,
day
doesn't it
or
suck
another?
how like do you remember when all these events were coming out earlier this year, like throughout the end of this year? Like, you know, Disney Plus showcase and everything. It's like 4 times already and nothing. Like no clips, nothing. And I'm like, damn. But still,
you're talking about Marvel Game Showcase and
Marvel Game Showcase, Disney Showcase, PlayStation Showcase. None of that. None of those events. We didn't get any Marvel Spider-Man 2 updates. Doesn't it just suck? It's like, here we are trying again. and we got
that
nothing.
showcase broke me.
Yeah.
That Marvel Games presentation. That
was bad.
That was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
It was tough to be excited about anything else announced.
I had a fun time live streaming it though, but it was
nice.
Yeah. But anyways, it's been fun, boys. This was great. We're already clocking in at 41 minutes already, 42 now.
Boom.
Dang, it was really fun.
That was probably due to my rant. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's fine. This is recorded. People just go back to it if they want to, like, you know, reference something.
Honestly, like that's a rant worth like clipping and just uploading separately.
I'm gonna do it, Evan.
I would not be offended if you did that on your channel, Evan.
That's okay. It's a News to Astonish exclusive.
All right, I'll definitely clip it and I'll make it a video. Like I'll probably like call it like Evan Filarca's like rant highlights. And
Lion Jim Ryan exposed.
Lion Jim Ryan. Like I'll probably even do like a mix down. Like it'll be like Lion Jim Ryan, and then it'll just show up every once in a while as you're ranting. Like it'll just cut off to that.
Make it like a political ad.
Yeah.
Right. What's the state of the PS5? In depth, like what, like those thumbnails with like the red arrows and the circles, like just pointed,
man,
like Jim Ryan's face.
You know I'm gonna do that.
Exposed. Yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
That's hilarious.
It's gonna be fun. Anyways, you guys have anything you want to say before we end this video?
I hope everyone has a great holiday week, and Happy New Year. Because probably won't be on your channel until after New Year's again. So.
Oh, okay. That sounds. I mean, then definitely for sure. I plan on having you guys on my channel once again. Evan, if you have anything planned, then let us know as well. We'd definitely like to join you.
I am always free to team up with the boys. So thank you both for having me on this spectacular podcast. And for all you watching, thank you for tuning in. We all thoroughly appreciate each and every one of your support that you give to each and every one of our channels. And please go and follow to the one and only News to Astonish and Comic Blast Keenan, because they are fantastically phenomenal individuals who will keep you all hyped and up to date for anything pertaining to Marvel Spider-Man 2 and other awesome Marvel announcements and Marvel games in the future, which we didn't talk about on the podcast, but I would love to talk about more about those other upcoming Marvel games down the line as well. And we all hope you have a spectacular holiday season with all your loved ones and enjoy a very merry new year to come as well. And thank you all so much for watching, Spidey fans, and we all hope that you stay spectacular as well.
Thank you so much, Evan. I couldn't have said that better than myself. You're a natural when it comes to that. Man, you were made for the microphone. But anyways, guys,
I have it all tattooed on my hand at this point, so
that's, you got like a little pen smidge, like a smudge on your hand, like, you know, it's like you're running out of line, like space on your hands, and it just goes off the hand.
It moved onto my wrist.
all right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was a real fun time. I always have, I've always enjoyed having these two on my my videos and my channel. As always, guys, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on the bell notifications so you all don't miss anything, and you can stay up to date with the latest in Marvel Spider-Man 2 related topics, MCU and DC stuff too, sometimes DC on occasion. And as always, I will see you all in the next comic panel. Follow these two. Follow Evan and Comic Blast Keenan on YouTube as well. Definitely helps them.
Peace out, true believers.
Later.
Will one of you finally give me what I desire?
PlayStation